I'm out here at the annual Spaghetti Dinner Democrat Fundraiser, and we are going to have a couple interviews with some people that are here who are running for office, so stay tuned for that. I'm here with Emily Benson. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're running for and what you hope to accomplish?
Hi, Kyle. Thank you so much for asking. I am running for Keene City Council, an at-large position, which is open here in Keene. I've been pretty involved in Keene for a number of years. I've lived here for about 16 years, and in the last several years, I've worked really hard for the Colonial Theater. I've been working as a commissioner for Keene Housing. I work for my family's construction company, Benson Wood, and we built an apprenticeship program, which we're working closely with the community college system and Apprenticeship New Hampshire, and then also the CTE program at the high school here in Keene High. So to me, this is an opportunity to start to kind of pull things together and really take a more central position in the city where I can have more of an impact on how all of these threads interconnect for building, a really strong economy here in the Monadnock region, in particular one that supports the working class.
I'm here with Michele Chalice. She is running for candidate at large in Keene City Council. And I would just want to know what are your plans and what's your platform like?
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, Kyle. I am a resident here in Keene. I'm a mother. I'm a small business owner. I am a school teacher, and I am looking to have a broader base of voices helping to make the decisions in our Keene City Council that affect everyone's life. I'm particularly most sensitive to our working class. Life changes, and we have many people who are living from paycheck to paycheck whose voices are not necessarily represented as thoroughly as I think they may be. One of the issues that they're really concerned about are our taxes. I completely understand that. And those taxes are really affected by how the state is not stepping up with how they're supposed to be supporting many of our programs. So I will be bringing their voices to the fore and hoping to represent them well from those different vantage points: teacher, small business owner, mom.
So I'm here with Karishma Manzur. She is running for the Senate, for the U.S. Senate. So tell us a bit about your platform and what are you hoping to accomplish once you get in there?
Let's see. I'm Karishma. I'm from Exeter, New Hampshire. I live there with my husband and my 2 children. Professionally, I'm a scientist. I have a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology, and I've been doing medical research for about 20 years, clinical research. I used to work on Alzheimer's disease, but for the last few years, I was working in epilepsy and depression. But for a couple of years ago, I started to get very disheartened to realize it doesn't matter what treatments are available because millions of Americans don't have health insurance. And so they will never be able to afford it. And also many millions have health insurance, but it's like private insurance that has all these limitations. The premiums are very expensive. The copays are too high. And also you need pre-authorization for everything, or even if it's prescribed by your physician. So I started to get like, wait, that doesn't sound right. This is the wealthiest nation on the planet. What's going on? So I started to move away a little bit from medical research, and I started to move into trying to understand what's going on. And of course, what you find out is it is not a lack of resources. It is working exactly how it's designed to work. We as a nation, along with our lawmakers, have intentionally created a system where healthcare is a for-profit market. For-profit means that if the insurance company pays for your care, for your medicine, or your treatment, that's less money in the CEO's pocket. Healthcare should not be a for-profit system. Think of it like the fire department or the police department. We don't think of the fire department as a for-profit. Oh, it's only available for rich people or only people who have certain issues. When that
Go for it.
We've had that in this country before. So, and until they,
Yes.
decided to change that way back when, it was you had to pay for the fire brigade, and that's how our
And how
healthcare
did
system
that
is
go?
right now.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly, Kyle. Exactly. And so, exactly. So when you're, hopefully, you never ever need the fire department to show up at your house. But when the day you need them, you're happy that that service is available in your town, in your city. Similarly, the police officers in the police department, that's not a for-profit service. They are available all the time, right? And again, we are all contributing, so it's not becoming a burden on one family or one person. But when you, and hopefully you also don't need to call the police to your house, but the day you do, you're happy that they are available. Similarly, healthcare should be a not-for-profit service, similar to the fire department, similar to the police departments.
And even the post office.
Even the post office. Oh,
People
post
don't even
office.
realize things like that, honestly, a lot of the times.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually have to protect the post office, so we'll talk about that in a second. Healthcare should be a not-for-profit, so that's the bottom line. And what is going on right now? We're spending $5 trillion in this country for our healthcare system, but millions of Americans are still not covered. Millions, again, like I said, have for-profit health insurance companies, which basically really is just a sham. They want to, if you're healthy and don't need care, they love you. The day you need care, they're like, yeah, we need pre-authorization and all that shenanigan. And they don't allow the medical physician who has who he or she has years of training, years of residency, and yet that person cannot prescribe your medicine or your treatment. Someone somewhere out there, we don't know where, sometimes in the Philippines, sometimes like far away, without any medical trainings, gets on the phone and says, no, we're not approving it. And now AI is going to start also getting involved.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's nasty.
I've actually heard that they already have gotten involved, and that's part of the reason that a lot of these companies have such a high rate for what's the word denying.
Yes.
Why a lot of these companies have such a high deny rate is because they'll automatically deny it at first, and then only follow up if you go to try to appeal that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when I realized, okay, well, the system is definitely broken, or another way to look at it, the system is working exactly as designed. But how did we get here? Is this because people don't understand it? It's a very simple concept. If you make a for-profit situation, you're treating citizens as commodities, as assets or liabilities. Well, so why are we in this system? Because of lawmakers. In Congress, lawmakers are making decisions that actually benefit the health insurance companies, the for-profit health insurance companies, or the for-profit hospitals, and not the people of the United States. But why would they do this? Big money in politics. The influence of the billionaires and the multimillionaires and the corporations on our lawmakers is shameful. It is up to us citizens to actually break that system. We have to change it. If you think you're fine and you don't care, the system's working for you, fine, thank you, that's fine. For many of us, it is not. So that's why I'm here. I'm also a little bit of background. I am on the board of ranked choice voting, New Hampshire ranked choice voting. So that kind of gives you an idea about where I'm coming from. I'm also on the board of New Hampshire Open Democracy, and that was started by Granny D. Haddock from Laconia, who at age 89 walked from California all the way to Washington, D.C. to basically talk about big money in politics. So if somebody says, Karishma, are you going to take a corporate PAC? I am on the board of Open Democracy. I hope that tells you where I stand on political influence by billionaires. And I was on the board of New Hampshire Peace Action, but because I'm running for the Senate now, it's just too much, so I actually resigned from that board. Let's see, we talked a little bit about my background, we talked about the healthcare, we talked about big money. Oh, there are a lot of other issues that are of importance. Everywhere I go in New Hampshire, there are several issues that people are talking about. One is, hi, Rokana. There's Representative Rokana.
And to your left, we have.
We'll be like, hi. Okay, let's continue. Housing crisis is a terrible situation in New Hampshire. We have people sleeping in their cars. people who cannot move out of their families' homes, people who are just renting out apartments, basement spaces. These are not real apartments. This is just a space that they have. For $1,100, I've heard stories about people renting just a basement space, no window, no other than that one door going to the first floor. There's no heating, there's no air conditioning, there are no windows, which means if there's a fire, that person is stuck in the basement. Think about how crazy that is. These are illegal spaces, but that's all they can afford, and they're paying $1,100 a month. Kyle, we have a problem.
Absolutely. Housing is definitely one of the big things for me on my mind a lot because, I've had. It's really hard for the younger generation in New Hampshire to uh, be able to afford housing in the same way that their parents have.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the prices all going up, all the houses are getting sold to companies who are then flipping them and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just
The
it seems completely
inventory is
unsustainable.
extremely low. Yeah, exactly. We're now, I think the calculation is that we need 24,000 housing units right away. And if we don't fix it, by 2040, we'll need 90,000 units. So if we think it's a crisis now, imagine where we're headed. Unfortunately, the problem, so I'm a scientist. We think very logically. You first of all have to predict the population is growing, you need more housing units. So it's not like a surprise, government, oh wow, we have a population has increased and we don't have enough housing units. That is, again, I think they either don't understand or they don't care to understand. So this is number one. And number two, first you have to figure out what is the problem or predict where the problem is going to happen. Then you look at the root cause of the problem. And then you come up with solutions to solve the problem. And then, of course, you apply and see if it worked. It's just a very simple solution. There are wonderful legislation out there to help with the healthcare crisis, the housing crisis, the childcare crisis. There's just not enough political courage in the Congress, in the Senate, and in the House to pass this legislation. So it is on us, ordinary citizens, to make sure, if you care, if you want to fix the housing crisis, the childcare crisis, the healthcare crisis, wars over in Gaza, or you want to help, there's a little bug. Or the fact that children in New Hampshire go to school hungry. There's a bug is back again. Sorry, guys.
Get out of here.
Get out. But then it is for us to step up. We have to ask what are the solutions to these problems, and then we have to find candidates or lawmakers who are willing to champion it. Great solutions are out there, but there's again not enough political courage to pass them. So, should I go, Kyle? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we can. You want to just let people know where they can find you and how to support you and all?
Thank you, Kyle. So my website is karishmaforsenate.com. I'll spell it out, not a very common name. Karish, M as in Mary, A. Some people write it with an N. It's not an N, it's an M. For FOR and then Senate.com. And KarishmaForSenate.com. Please follow me on all the TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and what else? X, Blue Sky. Sign up, please. I want to hear from you. I want to be a people's candidate because I'm a person from the people. The email address, I'm answering it. It's called info@KarishmaForSenate.com. Let me know what is keeping you awake at night. Let me know what you're thinking. What are your priorities? What are your concerns? Let's talk. Because this kind of position, whether it's for the Senate or the House or any of these positions, these are public service positions. The job of these lawmakers is to serve the public. If they're not serving the public, then they need to be moved aside, and true public servants have to be put in their place. Anyways, don't put lawmakers on a pedestal. Think about them as public servants and look at them whether they're serving the public, whether they're serving you. or you, Kyle, or me, and then we evaluate. And also, don't accept the status quo. Don't take it for granted that that is how it has to be. That is the only option. No, if we have money for the ballroom, for the White House, if we have money for the $1 billion to fix up that Qatari 747,
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of money because apparently we're really rich. We just gave tax breaks of multi-trillion dollars of tax breaks to the rich. So I think we have a lot of money there. So let's ask the government to spend it on us.
So I'm here with Jon Kiper. He is running for governor on the Democratic side, and just wondering what's your platform and what are your plans if you win?
So there are three big things that we're focused on in my campaign: creating affordable housing, lowering property taxes, and funding education in a way that is constitutional and is fair for all of our towns and cities.
So how do you make more affordable housing and also lower taxes at the same time?
So one of the reasons we don't have the housing that we need is because planning boards and zoning boards have been afraid to build large quantities of housing for families because the kids would come in, they drive up the property taxes. So we really have to decouple these two things. So it's not a choice between more housing or higher taxes. And the way to do that is to basically reverse the funding method right now. So right now the state pays 30% of the education bills for your local schools, and the towns pay 70%. In some towns it's even higher. So we need to basically reverse that and have the state pay 70% and the towns be capped at 30% of the bill for property taxes. Now, obviously, to do that, we need a new tax form, a new revenue stream, and there's a lot of options out there. We could bring property or business taxes back to where they were in the 2015-2016 era, which would be $100 million or so a year. We could legalize cannabis. That would probably be $50 million, depending on how you dice it up. There's a lot of little taxes we could add here and there, but fundamentally, we've got to come to an agreement in the state about how we're going to fund our schools. And I would like to see a series of forums in which people would be able to say, hey, I would like to see this type of tax. Because people think that this conversation with taxes usually comes down to income tax and sales tax. And the reality is there's many types of taxes. There's value-added taxes, there's consumption taxes, there's wealth taxes. The interest in dividends, which they just phased out, was a really good tax because it mainly affected people generally making over $250,000 a year. So that is good because, frankly, poor people don't have money for taxes. Middle-class people are generally one paycheck or one medical calamity away from being poor. So who has taxes or money for taxes right now? It's the wealthy, it's the corporations that they own. And that's why I think it's important that whatever tax we implement is targeted at getting money from the wealthiest of our citizens and helping the poorest towns in terms of schooling. And it's really important for people to understand we are in the top 2 to 5, depending on how you look at the ratings of wealthiest states in the country. Like, there's no lack of money here. It's just that people are coming here because they don't want to pay income tax. And so we become a magnet for people who don't want to pay taxes. And what do? They come and they buy the houses, the condo for $700,000 that no one in Keene's going to buy. They buy it because they're working in Boston and it doesn't really matter to them. And they look at it as a great deal. They're selling their $1 million house in Methuen or whatever and moving up here. And in my town, Newmarket, I see it all the time. And it's kind of ironic because the Republicans, Kellyanne, was running under this idea of the Democrats Massachusettsing or massing up New Hampshire, like we're creating it more like Massachusetts. But in reality, it's the Republicans' policies of not building affordable housing and blocking funding for education that is creating a situation in which people from Massachusetts are the only ones that can afford to buy houses here, and they're displacing all the people like me that grew up in New Hampshire and want to buy a house. And so I think we really need to have this bigger conversation in this state about how we raise revenue and who pays and how they pay. And we really need to have a system that's not going to get turned over in 4 years with a change of administration. Something that 60% of the state, and obviously the hardcore Republicans are never going to go along with any new taxes. That's for sure. But I'll tell you, I ran for governor in 2024 as well. And I had conversations with Democrats, I had Republicans, even hardcore libertarians who told me, my property taxes are so high, I'm willing to discuss a income tax or sales tax. And I think that dynamic has really changed, and people are not. A lot of the politicians don't know that, and because I think that a lot of the people in the party just don't, in both parties, aren't talking to people mainstream enough to realize that, hey, this has kind of changed. It's not the way it was, I think, 5 or 10 years ago, where people were adamantly against an income tax and a sales tax. Another really important thing to know that I didn't even know last time was that New Hampshire is the only state, aside from Alaska, that doesn't have an income tax or a sales tax. And Alaska's got oil revenue.
Yeah.
So they're able to take care of
Already
everything.
subsidized.
Yeah, and we don't have that. And the fact of the matter is, we are kind of in a race to the bottom right now that that is not sustainable, and I think people are beginning to realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see, what was I? So how will you be able to? Damn, hold on. Let me rephrase this. What am I about to say? So how do you make it so that bigger companies aren't able to get the contracts that will price out, people for affordable housing? Because I've seen places go up that towns will be like, there's plenty of housing here now, but they're all like, single room units for like $2,000. And a lot of, I'm on the lower end of the economic spectrum or whatever myself. And my generation, a lot of us can't afford to live here, obviously. And everything that you were bringing up does sound really good. And yeah, I just wondering.
So this is a problem that a lot of people. It's tough to wrap your head around, because when they see more housing built and it's only luxury condos, there's an assumption that housing is not helping them. But there is this fluidity that we need in the housing market, where if someone is in a apartment and they want to move into a nicer one, that in theory they move into this new luxury condo, it frees up more housing for other people and allows lower housing costs. But the problem with that is it takes a long time. So, there's some things we can do in the meantime, such as a big thing that the state's been pushing, that I pushed when I was in Newmarket, was accessory dwelling units, apartments in people's backyards, or tiny homes, sorry. And I think that's crucial. And I think we're coming to a point where we need, and this is one thing I talked about last time when I ran, what I would love to do is take the revenue from cannabis and put it into a fund that was only building affordable housing, but housing. So the New Hampshire Business Finance Authority has I think it's $300 million loan fund that the state guarantees, and they're basically a public-private partnership where they're not state employees. It's 5 guys that work as this sort of nonprofit. And what they do is they fund the building of, for instance, the building that BAE Systems is in, or the building that 6 Hours in, and to get companies to move to New Hampshire and to help them expand, because they're, like SIG's in the gun business. They're not in the building business. So the state will help them through this entity. So point being, if the state can help companies expand, why can't they help housing for the employees for those businesses to expand as well? So
Yeah, definitely agree there.
yeah. So and I think the biggest thing for the housing is that it's not going to be one size fits all. If we do tiny homes in Newmarket, you might want to do more townhouses in Keene or whatever. And the other thing too, that is, it's kind of hard to feel this sometimes, but we have a housing problem for the next 10 or so years. At a certain point, the baby boomers are going to be leaving the state because there's not going to be the facilities to take care of them. There are not enough beds.
Absolutely. And I worked for a nursing home before, and they are getting shut down, bought up by private equity companies, and sucked dry.
Yeah. And
That's a huge problem as well.
Well, and the ones that are here are really expensive. Whereas like in the Midwest, they can, they got an old cornfield, throw a 1,000 unit, retirement home, And I think a lot of the baby boomers don't realize that there's not beds for them and there's not the facilities to take care of them. And as they age out of the housing that we have here, it's we actually by 2040 New Hampshire's supposed to actually have a declining population, and which is only a decade and a half away. We could actually see, ironically, a reverse problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's unlikely because we'll probably get more immigration to the state, but it's a terrible situation now that we need to put all of our effort into. But I think that regardless, it's not a permanent problem. It will resolve itself, with some government help and through time.
All right. So yeah, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or let people know about your platform?
My website is votekiper.org.
Perfect. Awesome.
Hey, thanks.
Good talking with you.